very gently suggest to you guys, is become a futurist. Become a futurist. Oh, okay. So I can show you this now. So we'll think about the futurists in a minute. So let's just come back to this quick question. And we'll advance the slide. Can anybody tell me what this is a picture of? What's this a picture of? What's this story? Anybody remember this story from last week? Do you know what it is?
A worm lies in the rain. A worm lives in a rain.
Exactly. It's a worm that was living in a woman's brain. Yeah? And they removed it. They removed it from her brain. And this happened to a woman in Australia. And the reason why I wanted to show you this is that I think that this kind of thing, although it's not the start of a pandemic like COVID, we will see more and more transfer, okay, of diseases from animals to humans, and also viruses from animals to humans, because this worm usually sits or lives inside snakes. It doesn't usually go inside human beings. But because we are using up the environment and the habitat of animals, the animals are becoming closer and closer and closer to us. So of course the potential for jumping from the animals to the humans is becoming greater and greater. So that's why we need to think really carefully about sustainability. On a more optimistic note, I also wanted to suggest that you guys become futurists. Okay, futurists, and I'll just put that up here. Futurists. Being a futurist is the science of studying the future. Okay, and if you go on the internet, go onto various search engines. There are some really interesting organizations like the Institute for the Future, and they have fantastic material which helps us to look into the future, as far into the future as we can. And for those of you who are interested, I can also give you some information about bi-sector predictions of the future. So for example, you could look at Zalo, and you could ask which sector is Zalo active in, and then you could have a look at what the future could hold. And that's why I'm saying I think you guys should think about becoming futurists, okay? So that you can see what's coming towards you over the horizon. And then the very last thing that I'd like to share with you is, you probably remember with the little model, the ACE model, we had altruism, compassion, and empathy. This week we focused quite a lot on empathy, for sure, compassion to a certain degree. And I mentioned to you that altruism is a very aspirational thing. You know, it's a very, very philosophical, aspirational thing. But more and more companies are beginning to see how important altruism is as far as positioning in their market is concerned, because more and more young people who are coming into the workplace, they are looking for companies to work with who are giving something back to the community. And if you think about Zalo, one of your main purposes, and you talk about it a lot in your mission and your vision, and indeed your values, you talk a lot about giving to the people of Vietnam, right? So for that small reason, and I don't say you have to do it immediately, but you might like to think about altruism as a very interesting quality that could be very good for Zalo, okay? Because I think the younger generation will react very positively to you if you can position yourself as a company that is very altruistic, okay? So I know I've given you three sort of rather heavy things, the sort of worm in the brain, the futurists, and also altruism. Very eclectic, I know, but I wanted to share those last thoughts with you. And I'll stop talking now, and I'll hand over to Marcus for him